The night sky over the Andara system was quiet, almost too quiet. The mining colony of Erendor sat at the edge of the system, surrounded by jagged rock formations and the faint glow of distant stars. Captain Yarrick Tovan stood on the landing field, scanning the horizon with his binoculars. Strange energy readings had been coming from a nearby asteroid belt for days. At first, Yarrick thought it was just a glitch, but now something deep inside told him it was not. The colony's lights flickered as a low rumble shook the ground. Miners looked up from their equipment, confusion and fear on their faces. Then a massive shape appeared in the sky, moving faster than any ship the humans had ever seen. It crashed into the landing field, sending rocks and dust flying. People screamed and ran for cover, but Yarrick stayed in place, his heart pounding. The shape was huge, much larger than any human ship, with scales that shimmered in the faint light of the stars. Its wings were folded against its body, and its eyes glowed faintly blue. The dragon, Yarrick knew it had to be a dragon, breathed slowly, its chest rising and falling with each weak breath. It was wounded, one wing bent at an unnatural angle, and smoke rose from its scales where it had hit the ground. Many humans called it a monster, but Yarrick felt something else, something familiar, like a long-lost friend. He ran toward it, ignoring the shouts behind him. "Careful," a young miner yelled, "it could kill you." Yarrick crouched near the dragon and held out his hand. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said softly. "We just want to help." The dragon's eyes blinked slowly, as if it understood. It lifted its head slightly and made a soft, rumbling sound. Yarrick signaled for the medics, and soon the team arrived with supplies. They worked quickly, wrapping the wing in energy bandages and giving the dragon food that glowed faintly with protein compounds. The dragon hesitated at first, then gently nudged the food with its snout. By morning, the dragon could lift its head and even try a small step. Children of the colony came cautiously to see it, their fear mixed with awe. The dragon looked at them, tilting its head as if curious. It did not roar or attack. It simply watched. Yarrick spent hours beside it, learning how to communicate. Slowly, images and feelings passed from the dragon's mind to his own. Fear, pain, and a longing for home filled his thoughts. "Can you understand me?" Yarrick whispered, unsure if the dragon could hear his words. The dragon responded with a soft mental echo, "Yes, help." The colony held a council. Most wanted to call the Galactic Defense and get rid of the dragon. "It's too dangerous," one elder shouted. "We can't risk the council finding out." Yarrick shook his head. "We can't just turn it away. Look at it, it's hurt, alone, and afraid. If we do nothing, it will die. We have a choice. We can help it, or we can live with the shame of letting it die." Reluctantly, the council agreed to give the dragon a safe place near the edge of the colony. Engineers built a reinforced shelter with large energy barriers to protect both humans and dragon. Yarrick stayed close, giving it food, cleaning its wounds, and speaking to it. He learned its name, Lysera. Lysera began to trust humans slowly. She curled near the fire at night, watching the stars, sometimes letting the children stroke her scales. News of the dragon spread across nearby systems. Some laughed, some were angry. "Humans are fools," the messages said. "You cannot tame dragons." But Yarrick did not care. Every day he saw Lysera grow stronger. Every day he saw the intelligence in her eyes. One evening, a sudden alarm rang. A group of pirates had spotted the colony's transport ships. Yarrick watched as Lysera's wings lifted, glowing faintly in the dark. Without waiting for orders, she flew into the sky, her massive form casting shadows over the rocks. The pirates' weapons could not reach her, and her presence alone forced them to retreat. The humans cheered. For the first time, they saw what it meant to have a dragon on their side, not as a weapon, but as family. That night, Yarrick stood outside Lysera's shelter, looking at her resting form. She had survived her first day with humans, and she had protected them. He whispered to her, "You are safe here. You are one of us now." Lysera's eyes glowed faintly, almost as if she were smiling. But somewhere in the galaxy, distant eyes watched the colony. Observers from the Galactic Council shook their heads in disbelief. "Humans cannot treat dragons like family," they said. "This is a mistake." Yarrick did not hear them. He only knew one truth: Lysera was here, and she needed him. And for the first time in the quiet night of Andara, the colony felt alive with hope. By sunrise, Lysera could move her wings more freely, testing the limits of her strength. Children followed her movements in awe. Even the miners, who once doubted, now brought her food and sang songs. The dragon's presence changed the colony. It made them braver, closer, more alive. Yarrick realized something profound. The galaxy might call it a mistake, but humans knew better. Family was not always about blood or history. Sometimes, family was about trust, care, and courage. And tonight, the humans of Erendor had found a new kind of family, one with scales, wings, and a heart that beat for them as fiercely as any humans. Lysra shifted, opening her eyes one last time before sleep took her. She looked at Yarrick, then at the colony, and a soft hum filled the air, a hum that said she had chosen them. The unexpected visitor had arrived, but she was not a threat. She was hope. And in the quiet of the Andara system, the humans finally understood that some mistakes were worth making. Days passed, and Lysra began to recover. Her wings healed slowly, and her scales, once dull and scarred from the crash, started to shine under the colony lights. Yarrick Tovan watched her closely, amazed at how quickly she learned the rhythms of the humans' lives. She followed the miners to work, her claws careful not to damage the fragile equipment, and she even helped move heavy cargo with a single sweep of her tail. The humans treated her like one of their own, and in return, she shared a part of herself that no one had expected. Yarrick gave her a space near the center of the colony, a quiet place where she could rest and watch the stars. At night, children would sneak out to sit beside her, telling her stories and singing songs. Lysra would hum softly in response, a sound that vibrated in the hearts of anyone who listened. She learned to understand human language, not just words but emotions. When someone was sad, she nudged them gently. When someone was happy, she would sway her wings and rumble like laughter. The bond between humans and dragon grew stronger each day. The colony's medics discovered something remarkable. Lysra had a kind of energy inside her scales, a subtle glow that could heal minor injuries and help plants grow faster. Yarrick watched as she hovered over a sick child, letting her warmth wash over him. Within minutes, the boy's fever broke. The colony whispered in awe. Dragons were not just powerful, they were a part of life itself. Then one morning, a group of dragons appeared near the asteroid belt. They moved gracefully, circling in the sky with wings that reflected the light of distant suns. Lysra stirred at their approach, spreading her wings wide. The humans froze, unsure if these dragons were a threat. But Lysra did not roar or attack. She called to them in soft, telepathic images, sharing the sense of safety she had learned with humans. Slowly, the other dragons landed near the colony, curious but cautious. The humans hesitated at first. These dragons were larger, older, and more unpredictable than Lysra. Some workers wanted to run, others wanted to fight. But Yarrick stepped forward. "We treat Lysra like family," he said. "If we can do that with her, we can do it with the others. We do not control them. We respect them." It took time, but the dragons began to trust the humans. Yarrick and the colony offered food, shelter, and gentle guidance. Slowly, the dragons interacted with the humans in ways that surprised everyone. They helped carry supplies, warned of incoming storms, and even played simple games with the children. The colony laughed and cried in equal measure, realizing that they had formed something extraordinary. The galaxy, however, did not approve. Communications from nearby systems buzzed with warnings. "Dangerous creatures," one message said. "Humans cannot control them. You will bring ruin." Yarrick read these messages and shook his head. "We are not controlling them," he said aloud. "We are learning from them. And they are learning from us. That is not a mistake." One evening, the colony faced a real test. A band of space pirates entered the system, seeking to steal valuable minerals. The colony's defenses were weak, their ships were old, and their weapons limited. Panic spread. Children were hidden in shelters, miners scrambled to man the stations, and Yarrick knew they would not survive an attack alone. Lysra rose into the night sky, her wings catching starlight. The other dragons followed, circling above the pirates' ships. The pirates fired their weapons, but the dragons were too fast. They dodged the blasts, creating gusts of wind that pushed the enemy vessels off course. Lysra's energy shimmered, creating a shield around the colony. The humans watched in amazement as their dragons fought not with anger, but with precision and care, protecting life rather than seeking destruction. When the pirates retreated, the humans erupted in cheers. For the first time, they understood something powerful. Dragons were not weapons, and humans were not alone. Together, they formed a new kind of family, one that could face dangers no human or dragon could face alone. Days after the attack, the dragons began to settle in more permanently. They built nests near the colony, using rocks and energy barriers. Children played near them, miners asked them for help lifting equipment, and Lysra, always at the center, became a teacher of sorts. She taught the humans how to move with caution in space, how to read subtle energy fields, and how to respect creatures far larger and stronger than themselves. The humans taught her loyalty, courage, and love. Yarrick often stood beside her at night, watching the stars. "You have changed everything," he said softly. Lysra hummed, a sound that wrapped around his mind like a warm blanket. He understood her thought, "We are stronger together." By the end of the week, even the most skeptical miners and workers had changed. They no longer feared dragons. They learned to trust them, to rely on them, and to care for them. The colony became a place of harmony, a rare corner of the galaxy where humans and dragons lived together as family. But not everyone in the galaxy approved. Far away, in the cold halls of the Galactic Council, discussions heated up. "These humans are making a mistake," one council member said. "Dragons are too powerful. They will turn against them." Another shook his head. "Yet their bond is unusual." Perhaps, unusual does not mean wrong. Yarrick did not know these conversations were happening. He only knew the truth of his colony. Dragons were not monsters. They were friends, protectors, and teachers. They shared their strength, and in return, humans shared their hearts. The colony had found a new kind of life, one filled with laughter, courage, and hope. One night, as the twin moons of Andara reflected off Lysra's scales, she curled beside Yarrick. He placed a hand on her head, feeling the warmth and the steady heartbeat. "Family is not always human," he whispered. "And sometimes, the galaxy does not understand." Lysra purred softly. The humans around her slept peacefully, trusting her as one of their own. The colony was no longer just a mining outpost on the edge of a system. It was a home, a place where humans and dragons shared life together. The galaxy might still call it a mistake, but in the quiet glow of the Andara stars, it felt perfect. Months passed, and the colony of Erendor flourished like never before. Humans and dragons lived together in harmony. Children ran through the open spaces, laughing as dragons carried them gently on their backs. Miners and engineers worked side by side with the dragons, sharing labor and learning from each other. Yarrick Tovan often watched Lysra and the other dragons, feeling a quiet pride in what they had built. But far beyond the stars, trouble was quietly gathering. A sleek, silver starship appeared at the edge of the system, its hull glinting in the Andara sun. Inside, Envoy Maelric of the Galactic Council prepared for his mission. The Council had received countless reports about Erendor and its dragons. Many considered the humans' behavior reckless, a mistake that could have disastrous consequences. Maelric's orders were clear: investigate, and if necessary, demand the colony end its bond with the dragons. When Maelric arrived, the colony erupted into cautious excitement. Humans gathered near the landing pad, unsure if they should welcome him or hide. Yarrick met him personally, his chest tight with tension. "I am Captain Yarrick Tovan," he said firmly. "Welcome to Erendor, Envoy. You will see that our dragons are not a threat." Maelric's eyes scanned the colony and then focused on Lysra, who stood behind Yarrick. She tilted her head, her scales glinting softly, as if measuring the newcomer. Maelric frowned. "Dragons are wild creatures," he said coldly. "You cannot control them. This, companionship is a danger, not a blessing. History shows that dragons are unpredictable. They can destroy entire settlements in minutes. Your colony may survive today, but soon, you will regret this choice." Yarrick did not flinch. "We do not control them. We live with them. We trust them. That is why we are safe. And we will not abandon them because the galaxy fears them." Maelric raised an eyebrow. "You risk everything for creatures you cannot fully understand. You think they are family. But what happens when they act as dragons, not humans? What happens then?" Before Yarrick could respond, Lysra stepped forward. Her eyes glowed faintly in the morning sun. She rumbled softly, and Maelric felt a wave of calm wash over him. For the first time, he realized that these dragons were not just wild beasts. They were intelligent, thoughtful, and capable of understanding humans in ways the Council had never considered. To prove their point, Yarrick invited Maelric to see the dragons at work. Lysra and the others lifted large cargo containers effortlessly, repaired broken equipment, and even navigated a dangerous asteroid belt to secure rare minerals. Humans followed their lead, coordinating with the dragons in perfect harmony. Maelric watched silently, noting the efficiency, the trust, and the care the dragons showed. But not everything went smoothly. During the demonstration, a rogue dragon from another region attacked a nearby freighter. Its eyes burned with anger, and it lashed out, destroying part of the vessel. Humans panicked, but Lysra and the colony dragons intervened, carefully redirecting the rogue without harming it. The freighter was saved, and the humans understood the lesson. Not all dragons were the same, but together, they could guide and protect each other. Maelric's expression was stern. This is exactly why the Council warns against such bonds. Dragons are too powerful. You are lucky today, but luck is not a strategy. Yarrick stepped closer, meeting Maelric's gaze. We are not lucky. We are listening, learning, and trusting. Our dragons are not weapons. They are our partners. You may call it a mistake, but we call it family. The envoy sighed. He knew he had more than one report to deliver to the Council, and most would insist on sanctions. But he also saw something he could not ignore. Humans had found a way to connect with dragons without fear. The dragons had chosen them, just as they had chosen their human companions. Before leaving, Maelric issued a warning. The Council will be watching. If your colony is threatened, or if the dragons act outside your control, we will intervene. Consider this your final notice. Yarrick nodded, not with fear but with understanding. We will continue to live as we always have. Trusting, protecting, and learning from each other. That is our way. Once Maelric's ship disappeared into the stars, a quiet calm settled over Erindor. The humans and dragons gathered around a central fire. Children fed Lysra berries and sang softly. The colony medics checked the dragon scales, ensuring their health. Yarrick looked at Lysra and the other dragons, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished. Do you think they will return? Asked a young miner, brushing dust from his uniform. They might, Yarrick said softly, but we are ready. We have learned something important. Fear is not stronger than trust. And the galaxy may not understand us, but that does not matter. We have each other. Lysra nudged Yarrick gently, as if to confirm his words. Around her, the other dragons rumbled in agreement. Humans and dragons alike felt the bond grow deeper, stronger. They were not just companions, they were family. That night, as the twin moons reflected off Lysra's scales, the colony held a quiet celebration. Miners, medics, and children all joined in, singing songs of hope and courage. The dragons watched, wings folded, tails wrapped protectively around the young. The galaxy's warnings felt distant here, in this corner of the stars, where humans and dragons had built something that fear could not break. Yarrick stood apart for a moment, looking at the horizon. He knew challenges would come, and the Council might return. But he also knew that humans and dragons had something no weapon, no fleet, and no law could ever destroy: trust, courage, and the power of family. For the first time, the colony felt that the galaxy could call them a mistake, but in the hearts of humans and dragons alike, they were exactly where they needed to be. The calm of Erindor did not last long. Weeks after Envoy Maelric's visit, scouts from the Galactic Council reported back with warnings. They had decided that the humans' bond with the dragons could not continue. A fleet of warships was dispatched to enforce their orders. Yarrick Tovin noticed the first signals on the colony's radar just before dawn. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The fleet was massive, far larger than anything the colony could face with ships alone. Everyone, to your stations. Yarrick shouted. Prepare for a possible attack, but stay calm. We are not helpless. The humans moved quickly, but the ships were small and underpowered. The dragons, sensing the fear and tension, rose into the sky. Lysra led them, her wings spreading wide, shimmering with energy. The other dragons followed, forming a protective circle over the colony. The humans stared, realizing that their allies were stronger than any weapon the Council could send. The first warship entered the system, its weapons glowing a dangerous red. Yarrick's mind raced. There was no way to outgun them, but he had something no fleet could match: trust. He signaled to Lysra, who responded instantly, sending a wave of thought that the other dragons understood. Together, they would defend their home. The warship fired, but Lysra and the others moved with incredible speed. They deflected the blasts with energy shields and gusts of wind created by their wings. The humans on the ground coordinated with them, guiding supply drones and energy pulses to support the dragons. For the first time, the humans realized how synchronized their bond had become. They were not just observers, they were partners. The fleet sent more ships, and the sky filled with red beams and smoke. Lysra took to the front, her massive form glowing with cosmic energy. She dove between the enemy vessels, redirecting their fire away from the colony. One ship tried to attack directly, but a dragon swooped down and nudged it gently with its tail, sending it spinning harmlessly into space. The humans watched, astonished. The dragons were not violent, they were precise, careful, and protective. Yarrick coordinated the human response from the colony's command center. Focus on defense, not destruction, he ordered. We are not trying to kill them. We are protecting life. The humans and dragons moved like one entity. Supplies and shields moved to where they were needed. Dragons flew in patterns the humans could barely understand, using their size and speed to confuse and redirect the enemy fleet. The battle raged for hours. The warships fired relentlessly, but each attack was met with careful, intelligent defense. One human engineer, Mara, watched in awe as a dragon redirected a blast by creating a barrier of energy from its wings. They are thinking, she whispered. They are actually thinking. Lysera's energy pulsed brighter and brighter, forming a dome over the colony. The other dragons joined her, and together they created a shield that even the fleet could not penetrate. A silence fell over the battlefield for a moment, and then the ships began to retreat. The humans cheered, and the dragons landed near the colony, wings folded but eyes alert. They had protected their human family without a single casualty. When the battle ended, the humans realized something remarkable. The dragons had not fought out of anger or fear, they had fought with understanding and care. They had chosen to protect life, not destroy it. Yarrick stood beside Lysera, his heart swelling with pride. We are stronger than they thought, he said. Lysera hummed, a sound that resonated through the air, answering him as if agreeing. Afterward, scouts from the Galactic Council approached cautiously. Envoy Maelric returned, this time without the cold authority he had shown before. He had watched the battle from afar. He approached Yarrick and spoke quietly. I underestimated what you had built here. These dragons, your bond, it is unlike anything I have ever seen. You have turned fear into strength. Yarrick nodded. We did not make mistakes. We learned to trust. That is all. Maelric studied the colony and the dragons. He saw humans working alongside dragons, teaching them and learning from them. He saw the courage in their eyes and the loyalty that had protected the colony. The council will take time to understand this, he said. But you have shown something important. Not all bonds are weaknesses. Some are power. Lysera nudged Yarrick gently, then spread her wings. The other dragons joined her in a graceful flight across the sky. The humans watched, feeling the weight of what had just happened. They had survived against overwhelming odds, not because of weapons, but because of trust and unity. That night, the colony gathered around a fire. Children and adults alike celebrated quietly, aware of the lessons they had learned. The dragons rested nearby, their eyes glowing softly in the moonlight. The humans understood that their bond had been tested and proven. They were not just a colony, they were a family that had survived the galaxy's doubt and aggression. Yarrick looked at Lysera, her scales shimmering in the firelight. We have shown them, he whispered. They may call it a mistake, but we know the truth. Family is stronger than fear. Courage is stronger than power. Lysera purred, a sound of agreement and comfort. Around them, the colony slept peacefully, protected not by fleets or weapons, but by the bond between human and dragon. Far across the galaxy, council members began to debate what they had witnessed. Some were skeptical, some intrigued. One could not ignore the truth. Humans had taught dragons loyalty, care, and trust, and the dragons had responded with strength beyond imagination. The galaxy might resist understanding, but change had begun. And for the humans of Erendor, the sky was no longer a threat. It was a home, a playground, and a shield. The dragons had shown them that family could be anything, a bond of heart, courage, and trust that no fleet could break. In the quiet after the battle, Yarrick placed a hand on Lysera's head. You are part of this family, he said softly. And together, we can face anything. Lysera's eyes glowed in response, a silent promise of protection and loyalty. The galaxy had struck, but it had not broken them. Instead, it had revealed the true power of humans and dragons united. And in that revelation, a new hope was born. The battle had ended, and the sky over Erendor was calm. The humans and dragons had survived the fleet's attack, and the colony felt stronger than ever. For the first time, the humans understood the true value of their bond with the dragons. They had not just survived, they had grown. Yarrick Tovan walked among the miners and engineers, smiling as they tended to the dragons and repaired the damage from the battle. Lysera followed him closely, her wings folding gently behind her, eyes alert and wise. News of the colony's success spread slowly across nearby systems. Many were surprised. Humans cannot survive the galaxy alone, one message said. Dragons are wild. They cannot be trusted. Yet, what Erendor had proven was different. Humans had not tamed dragons, nor had they controlled them. They had treated them as family, and in return, the dragons had protected, taught, and trusted the humans. Envoy Maelric returned to Erendor, this time not as a messenger of warning but as a student of what he had witnessed. He walked through the colony quietly, watching humans interact with dragons. Children played near massive tails and claws without fear, miners communicated with dragons through gestures and shared energy signals, and medics worked with dragons to heal minor injuries. Maelric could see the bond was genuine. It was not just protection, it was understanding. "Captain Tovin," he said quietly to Yarrick, "I came back to see if what I witnessed was real. I have seen humans and dragons work together, not as master and servant, but as equals. I do not fully understand it, but I see its strength." Yarrick nodded. "That is all we ask. Understand us, if you can. We did not create weapons. We did not seek power. We chose to care. And in caring, we discovered a new kind of strength." The council remained wary, but some members began to question their long-held beliefs. How could a bond built on trust and family, not fear and domination, create such strength? Reports came from distant colonies. Dragons that were treated as monsters often caused destruction, but dragons that were treated with respect and care formed connections that were stronger than any weapon. Humans were proving that empathy was not weakness, it was power. Life returned to a quiet rhythm at Erendor. Dragons patrolled the skies, not as soldiers, but as companions. They helped humans navigate space hazards, recover lost cargo, and protect the colony from occasional threats. Humans learned to read dragons' subtle signs, understanding when they were uneasy or happy, and dragons learned to read human gestures and emotions. The colony became a model of cooperation and respect, a living example that strength could come from unity rather than control. One evening, Yarrick climbed a hill overlooking the colony. The twin moons reflected on Lysera's scales as she curled near a fire with the children. The other dragons lay around her, wings folded and eyes calm. Yarrick felt a quiet pride and peace. He realized the galaxy might call this a mistake, but here, in this corner of the stars, humans had found a way to live not by dominating the powerful but by connecting with them. The humans began to teach neighboring colonies what they had learned. They showed how to communicate with dragons, how to respect their strength, and how to build a community that included them. Slowly, other systems began to reconsider their views. Some sent envoys to study the colony, hoping to understand how humans and dragons could coexist without fear. Lysera often led these demonstrations, showing dragons and humans working together. She moved with grace, teaching the young dragons how to navigate the skies and how to help humans without causing harm. Humans learned to anticipate dragon actions, to work with them, and even to share in their perspective of the stars. The bond deepened, and both species grew wiser. Children who had grown up around dragons began to dream differently. They imagined a galaxy where humans and dragons were partners, where cooperation replaced fear, and where courage and kindness could challenge even the most powerful forces. The elders of the colony smiled as they watched the young ones play and learn. They had built more than a settlement, they had built hope. Yarrick stood beside Lysera one night, looking at the horizon. "The galaxy may never fully understand us," he said softly. "It may call this a mistake. But we know the truth. Family, trust, and courage, they are stronger than any weapon, stronger than fear, stronger than rules." Lysera nudged him gently, a soft rumble vibrating through the ground. It was her way of agreeing. The humans and dragons of Erendor had discovered something extraordinary, that bonds of heart and trust could create a force no council, fleet, or law could ever break. The council eventually sent observers, not enforcers. They watched humans and dragons live side by side, learning from each other. Slowly, they began to report differently. Humans could form bonds of trust with dragons, and when they did, both species grew stronger. What the galaxy once called a mistake began to be seen as a lesson. Yarrick realized that humans had taught dragons more than loyalty, they had taught them compassion, patience, and understanding. Dragons had taught humans courage, intelligence, and the strength to face impossible odds. Together, they had rewritten what it meant to be strong. As the colony settled for the night, stars glittering across the sky, humans and dragons alike felt a quiet joy. The battles were over, and the lessons had been learned. Lysera and the other dragons rested near the humans, their hearts beating in harmony with the colony. The galaxy might still watch skeptically, but it could no longer deny the truth. Humans, when they dared to treat the powerful with care and respect, could create wonders beyond imagination. Yarrick stroked Lysera's head, whispering, "We are family. And together, we can face anything." She purred softly, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to echo across the stars. In that moment, humans and dragons understood each other completely. The bond was not a mistake, it was a new beginning. The Andara moon shone on the colony, reflecting off the dragon's scales and lighting the faces of humans who had chosen to care rather than fear. The galaxy had called it a mistake, but in the quiet heart of Erendor, humans and dragons had shown what strength really meant. Family, trust, and courage could conquer even the greatest doubts. And in that truth, a new hope for the galaxy was born.